Hello. I think we're live to undescribed Rebel TV edition about the flat Earth. Yeah, we're here. As you can see, it's not Rebel TV today. It's the F.E Copenhagen. Well, we still have the Rebel TV here, and it's still me, Brian. But I used to have a channel called F.E Copenhagen, and there was Mr. Copenhagen. So that's who I am tonight. I'm Mr. Copenhagen. I don't know if there's anybody coming today, but basically I'm gonna make a little Q&A on the flat Earth because I have a lot of comments about the flat Earth, and I even lost subscribers because they found out that I was a flat earther. And on the other hand, I have flat earthers thinking I'm neglecting the flat Earth side. So yeah, here I am today talking about the flat Earth. And yeah, I'm not gonna be showing all kinds of new evidence and mind-boggling and breaking news stuff, because we have a lot of people out there doing that. There's a lot of people in the flat Earth community who already can show you way much more than I can. What I want is just to have a conversation about the flat Earth and and show you what I got, because I have a lot of footage that I shot back in from 2016 to 2018. I have a lot of footage that I can show you. So it all depends on what you want to see. So I have footage about the sun, I have footage about the moon, I have footage, curvature footage, and yeah, everything you need. Because as we all know, we need to verify something this big for ourselves, and I did that a long time ago. I found out about the flat Earth in 2014, and in 2015 I was ready to accept it and ready to go out there and test what I've been told by so many YouTubers back then. So hey there, Conchi B, and welcome. Today we are talking about the flat Earth. And all I want is to people to see what I saw back then, because back then there was nobody that could convince me. And I think it's the same for many people out there these days. You have to discover this for yourself. It's not something you can get handed. It's not something you can hand it to others. You can only plant that seed and hope that there's some way down the line it's going to look funny at the moon and the sun, and all of a sudden remember what you said. So yeah, that is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a lot today, and I'm going to show some footage. And if any of you have questions or want to jump in here, just raise your hand and I will be here to answer all your questions. If you have some, or if you can teach me stuff, that would be nice too. So, but yeah, as I said, I've been a flat earther, if you want. I really don't like that terminology, but I've been a flat earther since, well, start 2015. I saw it 2014, and 2015 I was ready to accept it. And from late 2015 to 2018, I was just running around with my camera everywhere I could go, Denmark, Sweden, and just filming everything I could. I filmed the luminaries, I filmed cross water, cross country. at the sun, at the moon, as close as I can get. And basically I just had that camera glued to me for like 2 years. And it was good times. I enjoyed it very much. So here I am, back having fun. I don't know what you want to see, but I can bring something up, I guess. The farthest shot I have is 70 kilometers, which is this one, I guess. This one is taken with a 850 nanometer filter. What you're seeing in the background, the very faint one, is a Clint, is 70 kilometers away. What you're seeing in the foreground over here at the right is also a Clint, but it's only 35 kilometers away, so it's about halfway. And this is taken from Bayside, 3 feet above the water. As you can see here, I zoom out and I'm on the other side of the bay. Yeah. I want to share my screen here. I don't know if you see my screen now. I'm not good at this. But here you can see what we're looking at. So, yeah. I have to go back. Here you can see what we're looking at. I'm sitting over here at Brøndby Strand. This is where I live. I live right here. And I'm looking across this bay. What you're seeing here in the foreground is this one here, this big piece here. And what you're seeing in the background is this Clint down here. This one down here is 122 meters high. So that's why we can see it at that distance. So this one up here is only 40 meters high. So yeah, let's go back to the footage. My God, I suck at this. But yeah, here you can see, I just pull it here. The Clint in the foreground, that's 40 meter high, is this one right here. And the Clint in the background is the faint one you see at the horizon. That is about 120 meters high, which I guess is about 350 feet or something like that, I guess. No, not feet. It's about 70 miles is about 50 kilometers. 70 kilometers is about 50 miles. That's what I wanted to say. So what you're seeing in the background is about 50 miles away, give or take. So we are seeing 120 meters, which is 380 feet from, no, 300, no, that's a lot more, right? No, yeah, it's about 400 feet high. And we see that from 50 miles for all you Americans out there. For the ones back here in the metric, this is 70 kilometers away and we see 120 meters high. And this is taken from 3 feet. This is just above the water. I'm sitting at a bridge, a bathing bridge, where people come and jump in the water from here. So yeah, I'm 3 feet above the sea level, as you can see there. And of course, we shouldn't be able to see something that's only 120 meters high from 70 kilometers away, 50 miles, from a height of 3 feet. That is just impossible. And I'll see if I can hit it again. Yeah, I did. And here you see it. the little one in the background, that's the one that's 50. So yeah, hey there, BB Truth. Today it's about the flat Earth. If you have questions, bring them up. Otherwise, I'm just going to show some footage that I've shot back in the days. But yeah, I don't know how far you people are into the flat Earth, but I can show you a curve calculator if you want. Curve calculator. Yeah, I suck. Earthcurvature.com. So let me share my screen again. Here you can see that at 70 kilometers, I should there should be 384 meters of curvature. So basically, we could put three of those clints on top of each other, and I still shouldn't be able to see it. So, yeah, just to get that out of the way. But I think most of you already know that curve calculator, which is 8 inches per squared mile. Actually, it's not 8 inches; it's about 7 inches and 90.96, I guess, something like that. So, but it doesn't matter. You should be able to put 3 of those on top of each other without seeing it. So, yeah, that was a little curvature. If you have something you want me to cover, please speak up. I am going to my files here and see what we can find. I have here for the short one, I have a little video showing the short one. This is the first one that's 40 meters high from the same distance, 35 kilometers away. Here you can see the lighthouse very, very clearly, and you can see the stuff.
That's almost 20 miles away.
I've made a video about this one, so you can actually go back and find
because the light is right.
My very first curvature test, and you'll see this one and all the calculations behind it.
Clear as day.
So, yeah. This is from 2015, late 2015.
Almost 20 miles. I'm back in.
And here you can see how far away I am.
20 miles, guys.
That's about 20 miles, 35 kilometers across the water. It's this distance right here.
I don't know the exact distance. I'm going to find out when we get home. I see everything, right down to the beach. Everything.
So, yeah. And this here is the distance to the lighthouse. It's 21 miles to the lighthouse. This lighthouse you just saw. The lighthouse is 27 meters high and are standing on a 40-meter high ground. So the top of the lighthouse is 67 meters high over the water. But that doesn't matter, really. It really doesn't matter, because if you look at this here, you know, The ground the lighthouse is standing on is 40 meters high. And I've done the calculation, you can see that in my video, that you should not, that it should be covered 35 meters of, should be hidden behind the curve. So if the ground is 35 meters, no, the ground is 40 meters, you shouldn't be able to see all this down here. You shouldn't be able to see the clint. You should only be able to see some of the trees and the lighthouse above. That's it. So, yeah. So that is what did it for me. I've seen a lot of these been done on online, but unless you have done it by yourself, it's very hard to verify. It's very hard to believe, that it is what it is. Yeah. What else can I show you? I have more. You want to see some moon footage? Oh, this is actually a sun.
Look at this shit.
Oh, yeah. I'm very out of breath.
Out of breath.
This sun is from the warmest August day ever recorded in Denmark. It was 2018, I believe.
Sitting at home watching
YouTube, and it's never been this warm. And you can't really see it from this footage, but this sun was really big. It was covering half the sky. It felt like it was insanely big. And I couldn't just drop it, so I had to go to the highest point I could find and go film this.
So this is dead center.
So yeah, what more do we have? Of course, we have the moon. I have a lot with the moon. Let me say right away that I am much more fascinated by the moon than I am about the sun. Many people are paying closely attention to the sun. I do the same with the moon because I actually believe that the moon is where we can find our truth. There's a lot of mystery. The moon is just one big mystery, and yeah, I like mysteries. So
okay,
yeah, some footage from the moon.
See this moon, guys.
This one is in infrared. I don't remember how big a filter it is, but
this is more than 230,000 miles away.
Yeah, that's what they say,
Ain't
right?
that stupid?
And it's hard to believe, right? Because I can actually zoom in very close on this.
See everything.
And I can see small things that could be only 20 or 30 miles wide, these small dots. So basically, if you were on the moon and were looking back at the Earth, you should be able to see the town you're living in. and that's a bit crazy, right? From 235,000 miles away.
They're telling us this is 230 plus miles away.
So, yeah. Let's see how close I can get on the moon, actually. I have some very close-ups of the moon. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's this one. Look how close you can get. And that's just with a P900. We have even better cameras out there. I can get even closer. That's the terminator line, which looks all funky to me too. So, mountain chains. So let me know if you have an idea what the moon is. I have plenty ideas, but I don't know which one is the right one. So I'm not going to make any insertions, but I do feel that the moon are holding lots of secrets, and we need to pay good attention, and that's why I do. So I don't know what this one is.
Do some airplanes.
See, those fade outs just look way too funky for me. If you have a, a rock in space, basically, who has no atmosphere, who has no gas pressure of any kind, it is pretty weird that the edges will be wobbling like that, because it seems like you're looking through heat or gas or something. So I think the the contrast lines between the light and the dark is all wrong. I even have heard that there's people who believe that this is a reflection of our Earth. Well, what they're showing me, I'm not buying totally, because they feel that these dark spots looks like Asia and Europe and Africa, and yeah, you could make that insertion, but you can make these dark spots look like anything if you want, really. So, but uh, basically, we could be living on something that's theoretically we could be living at something that's much bigger than we are being told. And if that's the case, we could actually live in one of these holes, basically. That is a possibility. That one I'm buying. That is plausible. That we are living in one of these small holes and are looking up and seeing a reflection of Earth that's so much bigger, you know? Possible? Yeah. I don't really believe it, but it is possible. The Earth atmosphere makes the moon appears to wobble. Alrighty then. Yeah. Yeah, that is a explanation. Doc Michael, welcome. Astero 121. I've never seen you guys before, so I bet you're here for the flat Earth. This is not normally something that I do, but I did back in the days. I used to look at the at flat Earth in for 4 years, and then I found more urgent things to discover. And I know many of you disagree, but to me, what's happening the last few years have been more urgent to me than the flat Earth. I'm not totally in the dark, but I am not, you know, I've not been into the flat Earth society for a couple of years now, so to speak, even though flat Earth society is a controlled opposition. Yeah. Let me say right away, I don't know where we are living. I don't know the perfect layout of what. I don't have a model, but I am not even slightly in doubt that we are not living on a spinning ball. Many people ask me, "Do you really think that the Earth is not a ball?" And I say, "I know it's not a ball. That is not even a question. You know, the question is what is it? But it's not a ball." Yeah. So if anybody wants to join and have a conversation, we can do that. Just I'm just going to drop that link, and You are welcome, Doc Michael, if you have input. Or you can ask questions in the chat and I'll try to answer them as best that I can. But it seems like you're on top of things, so no need, I guess. We know we've been deceived and lied for so many generations. I couldn't guess. Well, yeah, and you know what the funky stuff is that I already know before I looked into the flat Earth, and yet it still took me a while to get there, because it's just so hard to believe. I know that I've been deceived my entire life. I knew that like 2010, 2012, I was in all the ways, seeing how evil and corrupt the world was. And yet, when the flat Earth hit me in like 2014, it took me like, well, the best of 9 months to really accept what I was seeing and understand it. No, I actually I think I understood it right away, but it just took me a while to accept. Yeah, I'm gonna put Doc Michael in the stream so we can have a conversation about everything. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, my cam's off and my mic should be unmuted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just commented 2009. I saw a couple 100 miles and some islands. After I got out of the mountains, I measured it and it was 188 miles. And I posted that online. And for a year afterwards, every single comment was negative, telling me I was stoned, stupid, I need glasses, I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, worse than that.
Yeah.
So it's like I took it down. I had to wait till 2014 and I found other people starting to coalesce around that.
Yeah.
Back then, I even asked, okay, if we can see something that doesn't work out mathematically with a simple Pythagorean theorem, that a squared, b squared over c squared, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there isn't any curvature that's supposedly expressed in what they say the globe Earth is. And so we know that we've been lied to. So if we can accept it isn't what we've been told, we've been lied to, who's doing the lying, and looking at that authority, what else are they lying about? Or what other authority is there you should question? And then you end up questioning
everything.
The education system, right? As well as religion and politics and everything else in this world.
I was down to some of the rabbit holes before I got to the flat Earth, but the flat Earth opened the rest of them right away. It was just like it blew it right open.
Yeah, and now we've got a few people paying attention, and even trying to negate things from the top down. Hinder people, asking others to take a second look at things with coherent, mindfulness, coherent thought. And it seems like that coherent thought has been subdued in the last few years for the majority of the population.
Yeah, but it's hard to grasp. You have been there since 209. And I don't know if you've been into conspiracies before that.
Yeah, I've been aware of all sorts of things that weren't quite right.
So imagine you had like a 20 year plus advantage over these people we are trying to wake up today.
Yeah, actually, I was paying attention in the mid 90s, so that's like 25 years ago.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You had a head start. So we have to understand that this could be very difficult for new people who have never looked at this.
Of course.
So we kind of get. I was aware, and I got woken up by the 9/11. Let's say it like that. That was 2003 for me. What I saw, okay, this is wrong. There's something terribly wrong with this. and then I
Yeah,
started
I
looking back.
understood building deconstruction, how to implode these things so they fall straight.
Yeah,
That's engineering. And when I saw
yeah,
those things, it's like, this ain't right.
yeah. I've done construction myself my whole life, so yeah. That was totally wrong for me. Once I saw Building 7, I was okay. This is done. There's something wrong. I need to look at it. And then I started to go back. I took the hard way around, where I went back to the JFK and to the moon landing, and then I worked my way forward. And
Yeah,
when
I
I
saw those too. And it's
yeah
like, I didn't really care about them so much. It's like, you can go back to the 60s and look at JFK or whatever, or MLK and whoever else were prominent that changed societal perception. But
yeah
it's like, I kind of wanted to stay in the more recent past, that people could, the current, mindset of people could more easily reflect on something
yeah
from a few years ago instead of, 50 years ago, whatever. And
yeah,
so
and
I glanced at those things and the moon landing. It's like, okay, there were simple things that didn't really make sense, but I don't need to invest a year or two of my time looking at the moon when I just know that we've been lied to by so many
yeah.
authority figures.
Then you
It's
just
like,
have to see that
you know,
hair dryer, that drying tumbler flying around in space, and it's wrong because you
oh,
already
right.
seen. you
Yeah.
know, so you have already seen the deception. Then it becomes very clear. The moon landing. I saw that in an hour. Once I look back on that, I say, oh my god, I saw it right
Yeah.
away.
You only need to see it one time with
Yeah,
discriminating, perception.
yeah.
So that's after somebody tells us, like,
But
go
I
look at
think
that again.
also, JFK and all these other things, they're locally. You can have people around the world saying, "Yeah, but that's over there. That doesn't really concern me." They can opt out on those.
Yeah,
But
I consider it the Western world. So European, uh, North America, Canada, kind of that
yeah,
Western mindset.
yeah. So yeah, but you can kind of. It's not an urgency. So it's there's not an urgency to see whether the moon landing is fake, because many people, maybe most of people, say, I don't care, you know.
Well,
So
we don't care really. Once
yeah,
we know somebody's lying to us, it's like, all right, we just
yeah,
avoid that type
yeah,
of static.
yeah. But I even see it in people who don't know they're lying to them. They don't care either. You know,
Yeah, it's no biggie because we're not doing anything notable for mankind, so to speak.
exactly. It's not changing the world in any way. It's just knowledge, and many people don't want knowledge. They want results and facts, and
No, we got
so
instant drink mix. We got Tang, orange flavored Tang, out of the space program.
yeah. I think
That was
Velcro
about
came
it.
from there too, right?
Maybe they don't even have that on the shelves anymore. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, when we're at this age, it's like you look at the rest of the world, everybody's subjected to this lifetime of slavery. Their important things are feeding their family, keeping their job, scuttling off to work and back every day for decades to pay the mortgage on their house. They don't have time for this nonsense.
No.
So don't give me that. It's like, get out of my way. I've got things to do. I have to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
watch
I have the
football
same
or
theory.
something.
It's just a little different. I just say people don't have the time to sit down and see what's around them before they're 40, 50 years old. Imagine you've been in school and education, and you've been through all of that, and after that you need to get a house, dog, car, and get married.
You're
And
doing the right thing, the American
yeah,
way, right?
yeah, you're doing well. It's not just the American way. It's
Well, I
the
know,
way
of
of the
course. It's
world.
just a saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
The
know.
American dream, a house and
Yeah,
a couple of kids and a dog or something in the yard and a station wagon and a
and first.
vacation for a couple of weeks every year.
First, when you accomplish that, you can sit down and enjoy yourself, and then you start looking around, and then you start asking the questions, and you just say, "Hey, wait a minute," you know. So
You don't have time. Most people don't have time to stop and say, "Wait a minute." So
and they,
we're
and
both
they don't
agreeing,
want to either,
pretty much.
right? Because they have things to accomplish, so I think
Plus,
it.
they built things for decades, and all of a sudden, if you're going to tell something that will crush that dream, the completion of their dream. It's like you can't tell me I've been doing this for nothing my whole life. Because they went to school, they went to college, they got a degree, they got a title,
And
they got a name, they
that's
got a
the
pay
hard part,
raise,
right?
they got credit,
Yeah.
right?
That's the
So
hard
all
part
these
because you
things,
have to. It's like Pink Floyd said. You have to tear down that wall. You have to empty that
it's a
glass of
castle, not
knowledge
just a
all the
wall.
way up.
It's a castle that everybody's built around themselves, so they
Exactly.
can retire someday and enjoy the luxury, the fruits of their labors, or whatever.
Yeah, and you're basically asking people to throw away all of that.
Yep,
To
absolutely. Throw it all away and
and that's the
start
problem.
the naked ape. Start here and pay attention. It's like, well, I got nothing now. It's like now I have to bring in my wife and my children and try and beat it into their heads when I've been pushing them the same direction all these
Yeah, well, I
years.
think
Because
it's
they have a responsibility to others, and they don't want that responsibility.
yeah. Well,
Sorry, I don't like
I,
saying that. I don't have
no,
a family right now, so it's like it might be easier for me to chuckle, but it's not nice at all.
yeah, yeah.
It's very sad.
But I have that problem. I have a family. I have kids. So I have to be very vigilant, and it's a balance, because you could pump all this stuff and the knowledge into your head of your kids, but there will always be this fear that they will be ostracized at school and
Oh
and
yeah, my
everywhere.
son, he's 32, and I told him all this stuff like I don't know 7 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever,
Well,
and he
that's
was
the
just
perfect
shaking
time.
his head. He was incredulous. It's like no, like something was wrong with me. He would not take the time to look into any one simple thing, and then I ended up overloading him by giving him more than a
Yeah,
half a dozen things, and he's like his head is spinning and just he wants to wander off and smoke a doob.
yeah. I know how it
So that was
is.
my bad.
My kids are younger. Mine is only 9 and 13, so
Yeah, you've
it's a
got some
balance.
hope at that age before they're totally, their minds are subdued by everything
Oh,
surrounding us.
my son, he knows everything. He knows all about curvature on the moon and everything. So
You're a good
he's
dad right there. That's all
yeah,
you can do, really, is keep it,
yeah.
start at home.
But still, I
That's
keep it
planting
subtle.
seeds.
I don't get them to. I try to teach them as it's not a big thing. It's just you need to know that what you're getting taught in school is not right. So
So you build critical thinking.
exactly.
So the next thing
That's
that
what I
comes
do.
into their
Yeah,
face, they analyze it, analytical thought,
yeah,
and they can see that it's 3/4 correct and maybe a 25% unknown, and
yeah.
then they can see where to focus their perspective when they go into something.
I even tell them, don't believe what you're getting at school. Don't believe everything you read online. And I even tell them, don't believe everything I say because I can be wrong too. I'm only human too.
Yeah,
So
we're learning. Like we said, we don't know what the Earth is.
no,
Whether the
we
moon is a reflection of the larger, you know, endless plane, so to speak.
yeah,
And it's like, what is outside of this ice ring? It's like you can see that in maybe 20%, 15% of the moon, a reflection of continents and the dark spots. It's like maybe not. But then what are all the other dark spots? Is there this
yeah,
outside of the firmament type of world?
yeah. And that's the mystery. I love to look at the moon because
And
you
who's
can.
keeping us from finding out is the question. And then if you see somebody representing that power or that supposed authority,
Yeah,
then you really have to question what their goals are pertaining to the information you are receiving.
yeah,
There's that moon. I love the shadows on Pluto looking like Mickey Mouse's dog.
yeah. That's a good one.
That's classic.
Was the closest I could go with my P900. I couldn't come
Well,
any closer.
I saw the moon. I watched the moon for over 20 years,
Yeah,
coherently, and I would see it come up in one spot one night right between a shed and a back of a garage, like a little alleyway. And the next night it would come up way north of that. And it's like, okay. And then it'll be up there for more or less for a week and then it'll pop up somewhere else. It's like, No, it doesn't do that. So
No.
I every once in a while I throw out the moon is a liar.
Yeah,
That's like a catchphrase. The moon is a liar.
yeah.
And
It's
so,
just us that don't know.
well, we've looked at different models of
Yeah,
projected lights in the sky, and there's biblical writing about the lights in the sky, the greater and the lesser light in creation, and then the wandering luminaries. Those are light emitting, spots in the sky, the planets or whatever.
yeah,
So there's a lot of different aspects of looking at things and conceptually having to discount what we're given, that these are physical, you know, creations in the heavens, the sun or the moon or the stars and whatever their distances are, because we know who's giving us that information.
yeah.
And so we have to discount, take that with a, what do you say, take it with a, I'm forgetting that catchphrase or whatever they call it, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah.
So we don't need to
So
know. We just have to acknowledge where the information is coming from and to
it's the
question
light that's
anyone.
important, it's not the shape really. So yeah.
So earlier you were saying you don't usually do this type of video. And I've been
I
subbed to your channel for I don't know how long, but I pop in and out and watch a variety of things.
I actually had a flat earth channel before this one. But once like 2018 I saw that was more urgent topics. In 2014 I was way ahead of what we're seeing now, in
Ahead
2014.
of the crew.
And what has happened in 2020, I have been waiting for 6 years because I saw it in 2014. So I've just been waiting for something big to happen, and now that it's there, so I just stopped at the flat earth because I was afraid of what was coming, basically.
What do you
So
mean? Blowback from voicing flat earth or
no, I
having
mean what
getting
we're
lost
seeing
in the
now,
crowd of so many?
the COVID,
Yeah, the thing was it was about the same time frame, like 5 years ago. I'm going, what's next? And
Mm,
nothing was happening. People in flat earth were going around the same circle talking about the same stuff for year upon year upon year. Like they weren't making any headway, but it's like, all right, well, what else is going to happen? I had no clue that this worldwide, viral, you know,
well, I've read
conflict,
the
whatever you
Operation
call it.
Lockstep in 2014. It came out in 2010 from the Rockefeller Foundation, and that's why I knew. I saw it there that was coming a big play, and it had something to do with
From what foundation?
the Rockefeller Foundation.
Oh,
They made a
really?
document in 2010 where there's a section of it called Operation Lockstep. I have a video up on it. It's called Operation Lockstep, so you can see it if you
Okay, I
want.
missed that memo.
Yeah. And that was mind blowing, and I saw the interview with the guy who broke the knowledge in 2014. I saw that interview and I said, "Oh my God," because they're basically predicting everything that's been happening since 2019 until now. They predicted that shit back in 2010. So it's one of those simulations they love to do before they do it, So
Yeah, we had some heads up on some things. I just found a little TikTok today with Obama saying, what if this would happen in 5 or 10 years in a worldwide pandemic, and we'd have to get the infrastructure in place? And I guess it was 2017 or something. And then here it is. So we do find these forewarnings,
yeah,
where they can say, "Don't say we didn't tell you."
yeah.
And so try and pay attention to a few of those things, but we do miss a few along the way. So it's a surprise. But I don't expect you know, you would not submit your family or anybody else to wearing a mask at no matter.
we
I see neighbors driving by in their closed car by themselves wearing their mask, and it's like, hello, is there anything in that noggin of yours at all?
yeah,
If you're driving down the road in the country, might as well have the windows open and enjoy the fresh air. It's like somebody a week ago or something said, these people consider the air is lava. You know that thing about the floor is lava. So the air is
Yeah,
lava.
yeah,
So it's like, excuse me.
yeah. I have some weird footage from. I don't know where you're from, Doc Michael.
Northern California. I'm
California. Yeah,
surrounded
okay.
by
So you've
insanity in
seen stupid
California.
people too. I've seen some come up, come out over there too. You
It's pretty
know,
goofy.
yeah. Because in my country, everything's just all to do to this. We are the most
Where are you? Somewhere in the
vaccinated people in the
Netherlands or
world, I
something?
think. So
I don't remember where you're from. You
I'm
sound
from
like
Denmark. I'm from
Netherlands,
Denmark, Scandinavia.
Denmark.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my heritage goes back to Sweden and Holland, but
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been most of Europe. I actually have been in most of the world. I've traveled half the world around on a bicycle in my youth. so, so I've seen a lot.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of bopping around, but the Western Hemisphere, South America, Mexico, North America,
Yeah.
but never even the East Coast. Never past the midpoint from
No,
west to east.
I haven't seen the West Coast. I've seen the East Coast. I've been in Jersey for 8 months.
There's no
So
reason. I don't have any reason to go to the East Coast. I don't really. I'm not getting drawn to
that
any,
was I lost the bet.
mountains of the Adirondacks or anything, or upstate New York. Go hang out in the Hamptons or something.
Yeah,
I've got other friends that if you run in a certain group of friends, maybe, but no biggie. A few friends
life
run
is
off to New
lava.
York City and end up disappearing or dying.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever.
So, but yeah, uh, I kind of think right now I'm at the point where I'm looking at this nonsense going around as the serious stuff, and now flat Earth is actually something that I'm not in doubt of, and it's my goofing around now. So that's kind of weird, right?
Well, do you know a time frame on this? This current clusterfuck.
Well, I
Like we've been in
basically,
it
as
a
I
year and a
always
half,
say on
roughly.
this channel, you just have to go 100 years back. This is not new. This is the same circle going around and around and around. So basically, you just have to go 100 years back and see what happened. Because in 1917, the Spanish flu broke out just like it did now. Everything is
Yes, I
happening
went back to
exactly the same way.
I was looking back at the Black Plague or Black Death or whatever in
Yeah,
Europe.
it was the
It's like
same.
there were songs about "Ring Around the Rosie, Pocket Full of Posy," and if you understand what that means, they were talking about the welts that would appear in people's skin, and it was a ring appearing on their skin around a welt or a rosy red spot, so that person was infected. And the pocket full of posies were basically a bunch of little flower petals. What do they call it? Potpourri. So it smells nice. It's like a
Yeah,
perfume. And so these people had rotting flesh on their bodies. And I guess these guys were, bringing their horse and wagon through town, bring out your dead
bring
kind of
out your
thing.
dead. Yeah,
It's like, okay, I don't want to hang around that
yeah.
neck of the woods.
But with the knowledge we have now, was the plague even there?
Right.
Couldn't that be a
Well,
bigger?
we've seen other things with, remember the little story, I think it was in a Germanic wood carving or something, about these strange dark figures seen out in the wheat fields, or maybe they were oat fields or something,
Mm,
and they looked like they were swinging scythes, but none of the wheat was falling. So, but it looked like they were swishing, like you know what a scythe is, of course,
mm.
for cutting grains by hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that was one little story that sticks in my mind. And apparently, they were wearing a conical beak, like a bird's beak. But we've seen old style gas masks like that.
Yeah.
And there was a hissing sound with it. And apparently, I think that they were spraying the food crops when they were still standing. So whether it was oat or grains or whatever, wheat, was standing. And I've known the stories about the oats that would get a little bit of moisture in them, and they get a little fungus on them. And that was a psilocybin type of effect when they ate those breads that were created, like a mushroom effect. So people would see, they thought they were being poisoned. And so they were on a psychedelic trip.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if some of these things reign true, where that death was brought about purposely by poisoning the food crop, and the locals would make it and take their breads and make their breads and whatever, and consume it, and end up having those people that had a lower resistance to sickness would be failing, maybe the young and the elderly.
Well, that is what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is the same shit that's been happening for a long time. It's not new. It's actually every century has exactly the same memo. If you go back, you have this disease and you have 2 wars, and it's basically like it's written off the same manuscript.
Do you see any demographics in the targeting, whether it would be a geographic type of targeting, one place over like Africa, over the West, or anything like that?
No, it's it's a battle of the human mind. That's what it is. It's not exactly about. Well, it's now the target is not the West, because the West is soundly asleep. They got the West. Now
well,
they want
what about
the rest of the world,
ethnicities, different ethnicities, whether it's a Black or Native American or white or Latino? That's what I'm seeing here in the West. And that was one of the first things I saw. And it was financially focused. Whoever was in the state of California receiving state benefits for housing and medical and welfare for children's support, like women with no husbands with children, they'd be receiving maybe a subsidy for housing for their children, and for food and clothing and medical. And these are in the lower income markets and in the workers out in the Central Valley that do a lot of the food crops. And so these were Latinos from Mexico, and they may not be married purposely. So the husband might be working in the fields, and the wife would, say, well, she's a single mom with 4 or 5 kids, and so she's getting a house and a bunch of cash coming in. She's not married to Joe or Jose out in the field. And what they did, and I looked at the demographics of this first area, they were pushing it that they would lose their benefits in this area. And I said, well, who's receiving them? And it's lower income, undereducated people, white, Black, Latinos, and Native Americans. And I saw that they were being targeted. Like, you have to come get the test with this long thing stuck all the way up your nose, like 10 inches up your nose. Otherwise, you'll lose your house and your cash, and the state will take your children because you'll be unable to care for them.
What you're describing is the next
the
thing that's coming. You actually asked me, what you saw that I think is coming. What you're describing right now is what I think is coming. The next big thing that's coming is they're going to eradicate and control all the crops. And when they do, they're going to make a new depression, a food shortage. That is the next thing that's coming.
And when did you start seeing some of this? Not today, not in this moment now. Did you catch this drip?
I saw after I started, I looked into chemtrails and I looked into fluoride, all these things. Once I started to see that they were hurting us on purpose, I went down that rabbit hole,
Yeah, and the corporate farming, where you get something that looks like a tomato, but it doesn't have the nutrients, it doesn't have the taste.
No.
The food itself is not what it used to be.
The food, just here, the food is not what it used to be when I was a kid, When I was a kid, potatoes tasted really good here in Denmark, It was
raw potatoes like an apple.
Yeah, it was amazing,
I
know. Now it's lying 4 months in some warehouse somewhere, and it's picked green, and it doesn't have any nutrients at all. And when you boil it, it just breaks open and everything. It's not the same product as it was 20 years ago.
Yep. And we can see this in all types of food.
Yeah.
Whatever supplements they use them, or growing them indoors or year round, or whatever. And we used to see the North America, South America, or equatorial, seasonal equatorial fruits and vegetables in California. So in the middle of the winter, we'd get fresh stuff from way down in South America when the seasons are opposite. And then up here in California, we have basically an abundance of a variety that gets shipped worldwide during our seasons of bounty. But then you start seeing this stuff year round, and it's no longer imported from South America. So it is this, year round corporate farming with whatever type of supplement they need, whether liquid or chemical or false daylight or sunlight or whatever. So the seasons don't really matter, and people just consume what they have put in front of them. So if you want to be discerning, it's going to cost you 3 times as much to get something
if you want
they call organic.
If you want food like it used to be, you're gonna pay up. Yeah.
Yep, pay out the rear.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you're going to complain to others that don't consume it mindfully. Like if you bring something home and somebody else just eats it like it's it's easy to come by. It's like you have to start
convenient that the more money you got, the better food you can get. That's very convenient.
That is
then
convenient.
You have all the poor eating the stuff without nutrients, and
you got it.
So
and then relying on the medical system for supplementing that.
Exactly. And then you have that pyramid, where the top 10% is trampling all over the rest of them,
Yep. So most of us that would listen to you, or most of the people I go to, are aware of this, or layers of this at different levels.
Yeah.
One thing attracts people in, and they've never conceived of the food being, basically detrimental to your health over decades. But that's what they grew up with.
Yeah.
And so they don't think about changing it. But it's like what I saw was nothing used to be labeled organic. I was raised in the 1960s. And then they started labeling hothouse grown and all these other things that looked perfect, and the symmetry and different. It was beautiful. So you want the things that look beautiful. They're more attractive than the things that have little scars or they're misshapen
and
a little bit.
And cheap.
Ugly food.
No.
So people they're attracted to what's perfect. And in this society, the Western mindset, you basically can get what you want when you want it. And so that's what's placed in front of you. So you don't have a lot of choices, but you have a choice among perfections. So you always get something that's perfect, or at least very close to perfect. And that's what they're offering.
Sorry, I just
enough out of me right there.
Yeah.
I've just seen it changing. So now if you actually want that old food that was yummy, taste of strawberry that looks like one and tastes like one, it's going to be labeled organic, and you can't find it. It's not widely available. And when you do find it, so it's a lot of extra energy going into getting something simple. And it's not worth it. It's too much. So just grab the stuff that's right there, and make it easy. You're feeding somebody else anyway.
Yeah, but that's the part of the control, right? It's just another aspect of control, really, the food.
Well, you start giving up caring. You don't really care.
Yeah, but listen to this. Back in the days, food was important. We knew, like 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, that food was luxury. If you could get good food, you were good.
It wasn't just luxury. It was a necessity.
Important.
The seasonal food, geographically, wherever your seasons are, weather-wise, it's warm, it's cold or whatever. In each of those seasons, there are certain fruits and veggies that come to fruition. That's when they're ripe and ready. At that time of year is when you need those nutrients.
Yeah.
and there's apples and stuff, and you need those sugars and pectins and whatever else is in them. And another time of year, there's other fruits and veggies and root foods, carrots and whatever else, potatoes
Yeah.
and stuff, onions, and those are another, and those keep. That's why we had root cellars, so you
Yeah.
could grow your crop and put them in the root cellar where it was cool, and they would still be good in January, February, March.
Yeah.
So
But
people don't go by that natural cycle anymore. So they grab what they
it's
want
I think
instead of
down the line
need.
there just came things that people found more important. They were convinced that they needed a big car. They were convinced they needed a washing machine. They were convinced that
I
they
still
needed.
believe in big cars instead of insurance.
Yeah, but
A lot of steel
understand,
around you. Go ahead
the
and hit me with
commercial
your Yugo.
world just expelled, from the 60s and above. It was all of a sudden you needed all these things. You needed a TV, you needed the phone, you needed a computer, you needed all those things
A
because you were
two-car
told.
garage, of course.
Yeah, you were told that you would have this if you were a part of society, you know and all of a sudden people started thinking, I need this, and when they start putting that above food, they're gonna cut corners on the food just to get the computer, get the TV, and all of a sudden you are on a slope where you are looking for stuff that's more important than food, you think. But
You know what's funny? Just the TV itself. Keep going. I'll come back to it.
it's okay. I said what I said. It's
Yeah, the
cool.
TV, I noticed, because I didn't want to go out and spend a bunch of money on a giant TV for thousands of dollars. I noticed that they purposely degraded the quality of the signal. If you
Yeah,
had a TV that worked fine for 20 years or something, instead of um, the TVs that are meant to fail when the warranty runs out,
yeah,
um, you're watching it, it's fine. And then it starts getting a little fuzzy, like you think you need glasses or something. And it doesn't matter what channel you're going to. The industry was degrading the signal so people would upgrade to HD, high definition
yeah.
TV. So
And from
everybody had to go
analog
out
to
and buy a
digital and
new
all that. Yeah.
a new one, and they had to buy a bigger one too.
Mm,
And because they started filling the screen, like the news channels had all these little tickers on the bottom going by, it took up a quarter of the screen, and then they'd have a couple of things down the side, and it's like, so it's the same. You're only getting the same viewing of what you're watching as the size of your old TV. It's getting
yeah.
smaller and smaller and fuzzier, so you have to buy a bigger screen just to get. It's ridiculous.
But it's
And
it's
then
like
you
that
start
with
seeing that all these
everything.
computers, all these
Yeah.
monitors or TVs are interactive. They
They're
push a
doing it
lot of
with
stuff through the
everything.
gaming community.
Yeah, now it's the 5G thing. It's also the same thing. When you every time you go up a G, you need a new phone, right? So,
Yes, and you have to
so
upgrade every 2 years, or they give you a payment
yeah,
plan with an upgrade option or whatever it is. So that's the incentive to stay with the times. Otherwise, you're just driving in a wooden wheeled mule cart down the road, and
yeah.
everybody else is in a Maserati.
They're doing it with the cars too. There was a big case against Audi, like 10 years ago, where they fumbled with the data. They put a chip in that misled the user, and they have
Oh,
to
really?
call back a certain amount of cars. So that was the proof that they're doing it with cars too.
Yep. So yeah, they have those recalls every once in a while. It's like
Yeah,
you have to bring back 4 or 5 model years, like 600,000 vehicles have to be retrofitted or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, it's quite intriguing to stand back and catch a glimpse of this bigger picture. It's a carnival of deception. A baseball field has the pitcher's mound that's raised up just a few inches above the rest of the field. So
mm,
I conceived of standing on a pitcher's mound, just about 10 inches or whatever it is above the rest of the world, and looking at the carnival of attractions and distractions all around you, 360 degrees, every direction you look. Not just north, south, east, west, but everywhere in between. There's some sort of fires and flames or hauntings or spooky or arguments or all this stuff that draws us in every direction we look. And it's like, where do you look for something that is not a created distraction when you're looking 360 degrees
Well,
around you?
you have to look.
You have
You
the
just
only
have to use your gut
everything's a
feeling instead
distraction
of facts. Facts
or a
are there to
temptation.
deceive you. You know. So
So
you
this is
just
when
have,
people say, look inside of yourself or something,
yeah,
like, sit down and meditate a little, quit being distracted by this world, or look up and say,
yeah.
hey, God, hey, Padre, I'm down here. Help me out.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's how I make my decisions. So I just listen to a bunch of people, and then I make up my own mind. I don't take anything I'm told as fact no more. That ended like 18 years ago. So everything
that's,
is just questioned. And
that's
then
so
I get
excellent.
yeah,
I mean,
then I
you
just
can say it ended 18 years ago. Most people can't say it ended 18 months ago.
get
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
yeah. I stopped
interrupted.
watching the TV 18 years ago. I haven't owned a TV for 18 years. So
We do. I do want to watch what they're doing to the rest of the world. I'm not stuck
yeah,
on Fox News. I don't even watch those things. But I look at the other things that are being pumped out there
yeah,
and what everybody else is consuming. And I have to go out when you're in society interacting with other people, you have to be aware that they are full of this stuff that's being pumped into them.
yeah.
So there's a little different discernment level of understanding how you approach somebody to speak to them about almost
Mm.
anything
You have
these
to be
days,
really
because
careful,
they're
right?
already
Yeah,
force fed
yeah.
this soup or whatever this stew of deception is.
Well, as I say, I call it a mind bug. The virus is going around is attacking the mind. It's not attacking your body.
Yep.
It's a mind bug,
Yeah, we don't
and it's
know
coming out of the
if people are
media. The
having
media is
problems.
the cause of it.
Yes, it is. It's the mind virus they want to call it, or kill. We saw these bumper stickers 30 years ago. Yellow bumper sticker, very simple. It said "Kill your TV." Maybe
Yeah,
40 years ago,
yeah,
and they were only around for like 5 or 6 years or whatever, and then I didn't see them
yeah.
anymore.
But if you
So
look
if you're
back,
people like yourself, paid attention and killed the damn TV, don't rely on that.
yeah,
It's poison soup.
now it's too late. You can't tell people these days to kill their TV because they would look weird on you and say, "Where would I get
No,
my
it's like
information
telling a
then?"
junkie to pull a needle out of their arm.
Yeah, it's
So
it's it's too late. We should have killed the TV 30 years ago. Then we might stood a chance.
yeah, all you can do, and even today, all you could do 30 years ago or 18 years ago, you step back and you can see the multitudes. It's like a river, and they're all flowing to their demise over a cliff. All you can do is step back and watch. It's like
Lemmings.
I can't. Yeah, they are lemmings over the cliff, exactly
Yeah,
into the sea. And
yeah,
it's like you can't do anything for the multitudes, but what you're doing right now, or what we're doing, if somebody listens to this, is yes, a few people out of the multitudes can pick up on this, and maybe one little thing that you or I say, they can look into it and go, holy crap, and they can make a different choice in their life, and they
yeah,
can show that to somebody else. So, but we're always going to see the multitudes, that flowing river of humanity doing inhumane things and self-destructing.
yeah.
So we
Well, why
sit
do you
back and
even
go,
go
okay,
and
then
find?
where do I belong with a few
Yeah.
more people like me? And we're not really connected. It's not like you have a township of like-minded thinkers.
Well, that's why we're here, right? We
Yeah,
wouldn't
this
have
is
sit
our.
there have this conversation if it wasn't because we decided that we want something else. So
The other thing is the physical life. You can't just talk to your neighbors because they have a different political view, and they're going to judge you by the way you dress, right? Without even talking about politics or religion or anything else.
yeah,
And it's like they're going to have a predetermined
yeah.
opinion of you, whether you know it or not. I mean, I've run into this. This is why I'm saying that.
Judgmental have been a part of human nature for like 30 years now, so you can't
Yeah.
be
And remember
different no
where I
more.
am,
You
right?
know? Yeah,
I'm
I
in
know.
California.
Yeah,
So
I
there
know.
was one 4th of July a few years ago, and I found an old American flag, and I'd say, oh, I'll put this up, for the 4th of July. And some lady comes over I don't know how long she's lived around here, but she comes over and goes, "You're a Republican, aren't you?" It's like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You've got that flag." It's like, this is the USA. That's an American flag. We're all in, America. Hello.
Yeah.
And it's like, she was like practically gritting her teeth, pointing at me, saying, "You're the enemy. You're a Republican because you have a red,
Oh
white,
my
and blue flag." It's like, hello, you should have everybody in America. We're all Americans. Shouldn't we be taking care of our brothers and sisters, the people of this land? That has nothing to do with politics. It's about all of us people.
Well, that's been the tactics for so long. Divide and conquer tactics have ruled since, as long as we
I
can
couldn't
look
ask
back.
her, what flag do you fly? Do you fly a flag from some other country? Russia? I don't know. Some
What
commie
is?
flag?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, these
Well,
are, once you see a psychotic mindset, there's no argument with them. All you can do is try and minimize the attack.
yeah.
It's already waiting for you, and it's a preconceived notion. There's no intelligent conversation to be had. Just kind of disarm that person, you know,
And it's
back
getting
away
it.
slowly.
It's getting hard to have that conversation because when once you've stuck your head behind the curtain and you see the play for what it really is, you know, you realize that those actors and all that are not playing by borders. To them, there's no borders, and once you see that, you have to get past that when you're talking to the people on the street, because you just want to shake them and say there is no left and right paradigm and there is no border. Wake up. And
Yeah, I'll give it a try again, but for the most part, I can pretty much sense people around here. I already told you, Northern California is kind of goofy,
yeah,
so it's a mindset. So sense the people, and you can steer a conversation, and it's a skill to be learned. And it's not what you say necessarily, but it's how you say it, and it can be applied in any different, faction,
and I think
any different conversation.
I heard a lot in the truth community. I think what we're forgetting sometimes is the basic rule of a conversation is is building trust. You know, we have a tendency to just say, well, it's not like that, and they're lying and stuff like that. Instead of,
It's like agreeing to disagree.
yeah,
Nothing gets done.
nothing gets done. Exactly. And sometimes I just feel I say you have to build a certain trust before you can have this conversation with another human being. You know, you just can't go lay this shit in front of them and expect them to take a total stranger's word for something this bizarre. You have to first show them that you're trustworthy and you are an intelligent person that you can actually have an intelligent conversation with. So sometimes you just have to go on their level and speak about politics and speak about sport and everything, you know, just to get them to see you as an intelligent human being before you drop all this on them. So that's my approach to it. And sometimes I just have to take this half an hour speaking to people, you know, just to be able to lay these golden seeds in the conversation later on. So yeah,
You said something important to me, and it's about that trust.
yeah,
And it's like the trust comes over time.
yeah.
And what I realized, the little town I moved into here like 30 years ago, population was 209 people on this little sign downtown. One little grocery store, three bars and a church and a couple of little shops. It's only half a block long. People drive through it, don't even know it's here, out in the country. But the thing was, five houses on this little dead end street. This is the wine country of Northern California. So more people from the city or whatever started coming up here and mowing down the apple orchards and stuff and building new houses. And they, on this little street with five houses, they have built 20 new $1 million houses, 2 million, $5 million houses. And so these neighbors are not my neighbors. They're not the families that have been here for generations farming that I knew, 3 or 4 generations in these families. We were friends. We saw each other's kids get born. We saw people get married, make babies, the kids grow up, go off to college, get married themselves, that stuff.
Yeah.
And I look, and I needed the reminder. I look around me. These people came from somewhere else. They wanted what I had, was peace and solitude and neighborhood in a rural community. They have filled it all up. They have 10 times more money. They have a 30-year mortgage on their house. They get a new car every 3 or 5 years for either the wife or the husband. And they're just zooming back and forth, going to the city every year
Yeah.
for decades. So we don't really have anything in common. When this place was paid
No.
for decades ago, and it looks like an old farm with a pasture and stuff, they look at it as empty land that's worth millions, and they don't know that it's paid for. I don't have opulence and shiny cars and landscapers and pool boys and all the other stuff, the services that they have.
No.
So they look at me with disdain, a dirty farmer, right?
Yeah.
Instead of these guys that have clean polyester suits and neckties and whatever else.
Yeah.
So I needed that little reminder from you when I go into a conversation with somebody. They seriously are from a different world, and it's
Yeah.
their world, and their world has surrounded me. And so it's like getting that simple conversation started at any level to build trust is a very slow and delicate process.
It is.
And I only have that with a few of the neighbors. They've been building up for decades. So now the street is full. I have a couple empty acres, but I don't want to play their game.
No, and it's for me. It's more than that. I have it every. I have my world and I have their world. And I have to go out to their world every day. But I have trouble mingling with people out there because actually now everything that I hear out there or conversations I have are totally pointless. That's how I see it.
There you go.
It's
And you know what? I would like to keep some of those conversations at that level.
yeah,
Just take care of their minute concerns. Somebody just was worried about gunshots, and a couple of us here said, well, yeah, we're shooting the wild cats or the foxes that are coming in stealing the chickens or killing the goats or whatever.
yeah,
And I said, and yeah, and I'll sit out there and shoot gophers with my 30-30 when the earlier in the season when it's wet and the gophers are digging holes in the pasture. It's like your horse will break its leg. So it's like, yeah, I said, this isn't a gangsta thing. And they chuckled at it, but they move here from a different environment. You can't go out and shoot a gopher or a bobcat or a fox that's coming after your stock without somebody calling the cops and wanting a SWAT team in here instead of talking to their neighbors. These people run from an indoor world at work to an indoor world where they surround themselves inside of their castle. And when they hear something outside, it gives them triggers for a different world, for a bunch of gangster drive-bys in the city or something. And so they start intruding on your life here. This just happened yesterday. So the whole thing is, earlier I said I needed that reminder, and I have to bring it to the forefront of thought when I speak to people here
yeah.
in any manner. And that trust level is first earned by not being perceived as an enemy in my case. And that's
No,
already preconceived.
and there's no random conversation no more, right? When you're
No,
standing at the bus stop
it's
or sitting in the train, everybody's just stuck their
it's
head
a
in the
complaint.
phone, and you know, if
The only things people
nobody,
talk, they don't talk about wonderful stuff, things that
no,
bring them joy. They
no,
talk about one thing that bothers them or another. These
yeah,
people
or they
complain
talk.
about the
I had a,
roosters that we have in town. So we had roosters in the park. We own the park, an old family community of volunteers, bought the land, have had chickens there, roosters there for 100 years. These people come in and complain that they can't sleep in on Saturday morning because of the roosters. So we had to get rid of 100 years, generational roosters and chickens because all these new people that they want to sleep late on Saturday morning. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm going over the top here.
No, it's okay. I just see people now as they without content. They're not having a discussion because they have an interest. They're having a discussion because it's popular. And it's yeah. I see. Yesterday, I've seen it a lot of times, but I saw
I
it
think
again
you're right.
yesterday. I thought people have a conversation about a vaccine. And
It's a
as
confronting the problem conversation.
yeah, it's their digital self, the way that they're perceived is more important than who they really are. That's what I mean.
Say
How
that again.
people are perceived by others is more important to them than who they
There it
really
is.
are. You know, that's how I see it.
I don't use that at all. They perceive me the way they do, and they don't like me.
Yeah, yeah, you and me too. But I'm just talking about the people I see on everyday life. They are more occupied on how other people
Yeah,
uh,
perception. Yep,
yeah perceive them
that's right. It's
in
called keeping up with the Joneses.
yeah. And I'm in the other hand, I want everybody to see who I am because I want people to like me for who I am. And and
Well, there's one neighbor that knows to come to me if there's really a problem here, and other neighbors have come to me when there was a problem in this town. They know I'll take care of business instead of calling somebody else.
yeah.
That's a good thing. There's a couple people. So anyway,
But it is but we have to see that it's the propaganda speaking. We can't jump on people and blame them for all our misery because basically they're just trying to be good people. So that's the dilemma, right?
yeah, they're
So
trying to do the right thing to
exactly.
allow others to have their own space and whatever. I mean, it
Yeah,
comes back to those roosters for me, where they want to get rid of the roosters and get rid of the chickens. You don't have any eggs. Now you have to go to Costco 10 miles
yeah.
away to get eggs. It's like, this ain't right.
It's just
So you can't feed yourself because of public outcry, or your goat smells funny and somebody else built a house downwind.
their only crime is not seeing that they're being deceived. Really,
And you try and tell them that. We went over this earlier, and it's breaking that shell they built around themselves,
yeah.
and that's mental health, and it can be very dangerous. I've run into it since
Oh
2009
yeah.
with
Oh
the
yeah.
flat earth thing. It's simple enough. People can get so aggressive and fearful of what's really going on. Don't want to accept it. They can be physically dangerous.
But
I
it's
mean,
it's
really,
the
it's
same
happened.
deal. It doesn't matter if the
Physically
flat
dangerous,
Earth
trying to
or
draw people into blood,
yeah.
you know, fisticuffs. I've gotten the cops involved. I went to an event, and there was somebody there purposely to cause disruption,
Mm.
and he had to be escorted by the sheriff and the event, the conference center security, and myself off the premises. I'm not shy. I'll walk in and I'll help straighten somebody out.
Yeah, but I just think that we have to be very, very careful because what you and I know, is not for everybody.
Nope.
There are people out there that's not strong enough for this. And I
Just get
when
out
I
of the way.
discovered when I discovered back in
It's
the days I saw flat Earth and all that, I wanted to go out there and tell everybody. I want everybody to know what I know. And and that's a dangerous road to go. I see these days, because people are not that strong as they think they are.
nope.
And many people want to see the truth. They just don't know whether they can handle or not because they don't know what the
It's a
truth is
responsibility.
before you show them. So it's your responsibility to weigh if you are talking to a person who's actually capable of first of all consuming these things, and second of living with these things you're telling them.
Yep, and that's the first conversation, building that trust level, and see if you can.
Exactly.
You have to temper what you're saying until you know they can take it, and coherently, analytically, and continue that conversation so they're on the learning edge of things instead of trying to refute things.
Yeah.
So we've seen plenty of that. And see, you got Pie Man,
Yeah. Mad Pie Man.
my
Yeah.
yummy brother there, Harry Pie Man. Come on, Mad. Anyway, I'll jump out of this. There's
That's
room
all
for
right.
someone else to pop in
Thank you
and chat with
for
you.
calling in. It was good talking to you. You seem like a good
Yeah, it's
guy.
nice to have a little chit chat.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the best we can out there in this wild
Yeah.
world, because there are real people out there that we really want the best for them, and it's most of the time it's sadly we can't do a lot, but every
That's the
once in a
problem,
while
right? Because if
we
we
can. We've
because if
got
we
that
didn't care,
compassion.
life would be so easy.
Yep, we can wake people up with compassion and be aware of all their weaknesses.
Yeah. Because we're
All
good
right,
people
brother.
is why we're in this situation where everything is hard.
I'll pop back into the YouTube stream and say hi to Mad Pie Man.
Yeah. All
Yep,
right.
bye.
Thank you for calling.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that was a nice talk with Doc Michael. So we got a little on the side road. This was the flat earth, and we just took a little turn. And that's how it is in this program. Everything is on the table. No topic is too big, no topic is too small. And we just talk about whatever people want to talk about. And I don't care what I called the show. If you're here and you want to talk about something else that's on your mind, we do that. We do whatever we want, because that is the narrative these days, that you can't. So, and I've been a rebel for a long time. So, of course, when people tell me I can't do something, that's what I want to do. So, you're never going to hear me say, this is not what we're talking about today. This is not allowed to discuss here. You're never going to hear me say these things. If I get a strike for what we're talking about, so be it. That is it. I'll see you in a week. It's no biggie. But yeah, welcome, Mr. Mensa, Matt Pyman. Good to see you all. Dearest Dawn is here. Yeah. And Jim, welcome to everybody. So I think I'm going to jump a little back to the flat earth, because I promised you to talk about the flat earth today. But yet again, we got to talk about human nature and human behavior. And but it was a good talk with Doc Michael. Yes, what you're seeing in background is between Denmark and Sweden. It was a beautiful sunrise. It's been going on for like 10 minutes or something like that. But of course, you can see all kinds of stuff wrong with that picture. I don't have to go. Yeah. So let's see what I else can find for you. I've shown a lot, but I don't know how much you guys have seen. But I have more videos I can juggle along. Oh, then we have this one. This is also from Denmark to Sweden. And what we need to look at here is how quiet the wind is. Look at this. This is active windmills, and there's no wind at all. I remember this day clearly. I couldn't feel the wind unless I was moving. There was no wind, and the windmill basically just stands still too. So, yeah, look at this. You have one windmill moving just to verify that it's a live shot, and yeah. Yeah, Doc Michael, it was a crazy sunrise. The sun was basically filling half the sky. It was the same one as the sunset. This is the sunset. Let me play this one. First, we can see the sunrise. Oh, righty then. I suck at this. This is the sunrise from the same day. This sun basically just filled up half the sky, and it was not even up yet. And in the background, of course, you see in Barsebäck. That is a power plant on the other side of the canal to Sweden, and we shouldn't be able to see that either. But here, yeah, you see this sun go up, and at the same day, this is the sunset on the other side.
Look at this shit. Sorry.
And this one was crazy big. This picture doesn't do it justice, but basically this is almost a 180-degree picture, and just look at how much is illuminated by that sun. It's crazy. I remember this day clearly. It was the warmest day ever recorded in August here in Denmark. So, yeah. What else can we discuss? And what else do we have? Maybe I have to go into the big archive to find more. This is what I had lined up. But maybe we can do that. But yeah, let me just drop that link again. If anybody else want to join, it is cool to do so. You can jump in and out as crazy as you want. And we can do more than one at one time. That's okay too. As I said, there are no rules here. I hate rules. Rules keep you in a bucket. Oh, there's my external hard disk. Let's see what we can find here. There's more footage of the moon. Oh, apparently I can only show 10 videos at a time. I have to delete some. Oh, yeah. There's a little more moon picture. And we don't have to listen to me sitting there sniffling like I have the corona or something like that. Yeah, of course. Everybody is welcome. And how there, Habanero? And welcome to another edition of Everything. There's not much in these pictures. I have something else I wanted to talk about. Let's see if I can find the video. It's on YouTube. I don't know if I can take my own YouTube videos and put in here. Excuse me for my technical knowledge is not on the level of other streamers, but I do what I can, but what I got. Så lige noget andet, jeg gerne vil vise jer. And this is from the other side of Denmark. This is a sunset too, from the other side. and we have the moon up there. Just not particular, not too close, but fairly close. So yeah, that is all wrong. What do? And of course, I have two cameras. I have one in infrared and one in normal. I can show you how a P900 looks in infrared. Good evening, guys, and welcome to F.E Copenhagen. This is Brian speaking. Today I want to take you way back to the beginning. This one. To the year infrared P900. 2014. It's Christmas time, and that just got me right away. Beautiful. I loved it. I couldn't stop filming with this camera. Everything just turned beautiful, you know? And here, of course, we have a boat that re-emerges over the edge. So this boat is actually, it's not that far. It's like 5 miles, but still, we shouldn't be able to see the bottom splashing and all that. You can see when you look at the bottom of this boat, you can see the splashing and the name and everything. If I can control that camera. And there we have another one. We saw that one. Oh, this is my first curvature test. But that video is up on my YouTube channel, so then there's no point in seeing that. But yeah, I can recommend transforming a P900 into an infrared camera, not only to see farther, because you can with the right filter, but also to just get great pictures. You get so clear and beautiful pictures when you do it. So that is recommendable. Just be careful, because it can ruin your camera if you do it wrong. But it was not that hard. I did it on my own, but just by watching a YouTube video. So it's doable, and I'm not that technical. So yeah. No, but actually, what we remember used to was what we were told, dearest Dawn. You know, we had our eyes way shut back then. You know, it wasn't really our memories. You know, we're not remembering what we're seeing. We're remembering what we are told and what we are explained a lot of the times. So yeah, when we feel, I've looked into all this, what do you call it? Yeah, that's word is gone. The Mandela effect. That was what I'm saying. When we're looking back and looking at the Mandela effect, I think much of it is created by putting notions in our head, you know. So we are actually remembering things differently than what it really was. And And when we're seeing things today with open eyes, we are actually seeing things as they are, and they don't fit the narrative we remember 20 years ago. That is just a basic thought I have. Without knowing too much, I think Mandela effect could be much more than that. But yeah, that is one explanation for what's going on and why we don't remember that thing looks different. It looks the same as it does today. Because I also see the sky in a different light than I did 30 years ago. When I look at it now, even when I'm at the countryside where there's no light, contaminated light, I used to remember as a kid when I was at my grandmother's and granddad's house in the farm, way out in the country, that there was way more stars back then. You know, I know that we have more light pollution these days, but still, I still don't believe I see as many stars as I did, or maybe they just got dimmer than they used to be, because I can still see that there, but I just don't notice them in the same way as I used to. So yeah, there's definitely something have changed of what we're seeing, but I don't have the total picture, and we probably never will. Yeah, I agree, Doc Michael. I saw that too, and I don't know if there were more or some of they just dimmed down, so those who were less visible before is now gone. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe they're still there, because when I zoom in, I still see him there. Yeah, yeah, and that is at the countryside at Nebraska. So something has definitely changed, no doubt about that. If anybody has question or want to join, do so. I am here. I won't be here for long. Let's say I'm here for 15 or 30 minutes tops. Then I'll be out. But it was definitely fun. I will do this again. It was basically only half the show that was about flat Earth, and then we just went on a turmoil on everything else, and that's cool, you know. And see, Matt Pyman has the same notion, so I'm not alone in this one, and I'm glad. That's why we're doing it, to confirm that we are not idiots. At least I do that. You know, I have notions and thoughts and all this, but until you have people seeing the world in the same light, you will always have this question, you know. And you will question yourself, and I think that's very important, that we have these conversations and share knowledge, even though we don't agree on everything. That's cool, you know. We don't have to. It does not matter, you know, as long as we are agreeing on something, and that is that something is terribly wrong, and that is the common factor. If you're just here to defend the world you've been living in your entire life, that's not for me. That's not the conversation I want. But if you're here curious and want to learn, hey, this is the right place, because I'm exactly the same guy, you know. Oh yeah, well, yeah, Doc Michael. Let me put this out there so new people understand that I am not a fairly religious person. I'm not a man of God. I never have been, but I have been looking into religion, and I have read the Bible several times. I even read the Quran and the Havamal, which is two other versions of uh, the Muslim religion and the pagan religion. So I've seen it in three different books, and the funny thing is that if you look at what you call the Genesis in the Bible actually is described in the other books as well. And they're pretty much saying the same things. The narratives are a bit different and the settings are a bit different, but basically they're saying the same thing, that it was a void, an empty void, and then things was created. And I that is my notion of religion. I used to believe that what I could see, hear, taste, smell, or touch was what there is. I never put my faith in anything else, but inside me, I kind of had faith because I always believed there was something bigger than me, and that's the notion I want to put out there. I'm not totally not religious because I do have faith. I always believed that there was a purpose and there was something bigger than me. I just couldn't put it into context in religion, and I've researched several religions, and I couldn't find myself in any of them. And I think in many parts it was the people within the church that I was. I couldn't see these people as my family. I did not reconcile myself with these people. No. Yeah. Yeah. We certainly don't come from monkeys, and there's certainly not evolution, and I don't think there was any dinosaurs either. So let's just put that out there as well. Basically, I believe that our whole reality has been spoon-fed to us since we were tiny kids. And by that, I mean everything. So nothing is on the safe shelves. And I want to put this out again. I see people having this glass of life. If you imagine that everything you know about life and reality is in your glass, and you realize, and all of a sudden you see there's a fly or a piece of dirt in your glass, you want to take that out. And that's what I see people do. They're sitting with their fingers fishing after the wrongdoing in their glass just to take it up so they can keep whatever they had in that glass. And I realized like 10 years ago that that's not going to cut it. What you need to do is empty that glass totally. Everything you know, everything you believe, everything that you have been told reality is for the past 30 or 40 years, you have to throw that out, and you have to start all over. And that's the hard part. That's why people don't always cut it. That's why people don't want to see it, because it's goddamn hard to throw your life away. And that is exactly what you're doing. If you are in an age of 30 or 40 years, the longer you've been in this deception, the harder it gets, because the more life you're losing, just like they say in the Matrix, usually we don't wake people up at this age, but they kind of have to, because you're the one. So yeah, don't drink the Fly-Aid, Matt Pyman. Exactly. You have to, at some point, you have to see so much dirt in your glass, and you have put your fingers enough times in it to say, enough is enough. I have to empty this glass, and I have to fill it with fresh stuff, because I don't want to drink that shit no more. And it's a hard thing to do. I know from experience. When I emptied that glass, it basically broke me a little. It's basically when you start seeing that your whole reality is falling apart around you, and all the people are buying into this. It's getting kind of hard to be in existence. I had a rough time just after I realized the Earth was flat. There was a year or two where I was out there trying to make people see the deception. And once I realized that I couldn't, and I just was tumbling further down this rabbit hole, and everybody else was standing still, I just stopped and I said, "Oh my God, now it's just me. I can't pull people the same way, I can't pull the people around me into the same hole, you know, because for one thing, I might hurt them, and for two, they might not see the hole for what I'm seeing. So yeah, I I stopped. I stopped and I said, okay, now I have to change me. I have to change what I know, and have to change the reality for me. Stop trying to change other people's reality and change my own. So I empty that cup totally, and I start to take it one by one. What we were told, I took knowledge one by one, and I just took what I was right. Basically, I'm just following my gut feeling. Everything I know is based on gut feeling these days. I take 100 opinions when I go out there every day. I take all the people that I see's opinion, and then I evaluate what I think is the right and wrong for me. And I urge everybody out there to do the same. That is how and you will be wrong. This is not a bulletproof way to do things. I promise you. I've been wrong a lot, and you will be wrong again. But trusting your gut feeling is better than any news or any facts you can get out there anytime. So start trusting. That's sixth sense if you want. The one who always tells you what's right and wrong. In every given situation, you have this antenna who will tell you what you're doing or what you're saying is right and wrong, and you just have to follow that to get truth. And truth is different for everybody. And for me, truth is what I make it. And once I see things are different that I have made them, I change them right away without keeping any notion in the thought I've made previously. And we need to get over that one too, because everybody has the urge to be right, and that's ego speaking, and we need to get way past that before we can start and have productive conversations again. We need to throw ego out, and we need to acknowledge that we are all human and we're all gonna make mistakes, and it's okay. And then we just need to forgive each other. That is the message I want to give you today. Think about what you're doing when you're out there talking to people. Think about which information you put in them, and think about how you're presenting the information you have. Because if you go and empty their cup, they're gonna hit you in the face. If you go to a bar and you knock somebody's drink over, he's gonna hit you in the face. But if you've been standing there talking to him for half an hour and everything is you having a good conversation on whatever, and all of a sudden you accidentally spill his drink, he might not hit you in the face, because now he had a conversation with you, and now he don't want to hit you in the face. So realize how you're presenting yourself, and don't be too hasty. Don't judge people, even though they are walking around with a mask on their head and well, now I'm judging, looking like morons. But you know what I mean. Be fair. Realize that you had years to come into this world. You have years of tumbling down the rabbit hole. You just can't throw up a line and pull somebody random down to the level at where you are. It's just not possible. And if you did, it will kill him. I promise you. that would be shattering their glass in their face. So, yeah, that is the message of the day. I appreciate everybody who was here today. Let me call out again, Doc Michael, great talk, mate. That was awesome. Habanero, Matt Pyman, Mr. Mensa, all the usual suspects, and we had Dearest Dawn. I think we had Jem too. Yeah, Jem was here, and Matt was here. Yeah, but I don't have so much else to say. I want to end it up on that notion that I just put out there. Protect yourself at first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not at the right place in mentality wise, you can't teach anybody anything. You can't explain anything to anybody. If you're out there yelling, the test don't work, and the horizon, and nobody's gonna listen, especially not to a stranger. Yeah, yeah. But you get the analogy, right, Doc Michael? We all met those people, that have no respect for you at first glance, but if you stop and give people a chance to them get to know you, they might trust you a little, and things might be a little easier. So don't forget what we're fighting for. We are fighting for the human race, and everybody out there, even the sheeps, are a part of the human race, and we need to protect them for their own stupidity. I know it's it's a lousy job, but somebody got to do it, and for some reason we are chosen. I don't know why. I don't know when it's gonna profit, if you want, but basically what I'm seeing is that we have a responsibility. You can use it, the quote from Spider-Man, with great powers comes great responsibility. You are the one awake. You are the one with the information. You're the one with the information that can hurt others. It is your responsibility to deliver this information in a respectful manner. So, yeah, that's it for me. I love you all, and I'll be here next weekend. I won't be making a stream tomorrow as I usually do, because I have a tournament tomorrow and I will be bummed when I come home. So tomorrow it's all about me and not about the world. I hope you can forgive me for that, and I'll see you next week. This is Rebel TV, over and out.